And we are live with Good Chops, your man DL Saint. Welcome. I really want to know podcast, man. How y'all feeling? Yeah, man. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard about it. The fast food workers in California, the whole state, on April 1st, got a pay raise, $20 an hour. Minimum wage for fast food workers in California is $20 an hour. This is a good thing. This is a bad thing. Is it somewhere in the middle? Yo, let's get into it. And we are live. What's good, y'all? Welcome. Did I really want to know podcast, y'all? Yes, good some indeed. I was actually spoke to Shushu today. She's working on a project, and I'm lucky enough to be one of the people that she trusts to, send the project to, I guess, to get some notes or whatever. Like, hey, what do you think it is? And this is when I get to put on my little Hollywood hat again and kind of get into it. I'm here to tell you, Sister Shushu is one hell of an editor. Don DeMarco to her, she is one hell of a editor. So yeah. So yeah, I just want to give her props. I'm fortunate enough to be one of those few people who are able to see the project that she's working on before it's done. And I gave her my notes. We had a really good talk. It was good to talk to her. She's doing well. We're gonna get her back on the show, y'all. She's extremely busy, but we're definitely when they drop this project and it's out there, we're definitely going to bring her on to talk about her experience and to talk about the project itself. It's a really good project. It's a really good documentary, really good subject matter. I'm not going to say anything more than that, but yeah, shout out to her. Like, I mean, I'm so proud of her, man. I'm like truly impressed. I told her what I had to say, and I don't know, because we're friends. It's, when you sing your praises of a friend, sometimes it's hard. Like, are you just saying this because we're friends, or do you really mean it? And I really meant it. Like, if she didn't do well, I would have told her. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm like, hey, girl, you got to work on this. But yeah, shout out to Shushu, man, for real. One more time, Don DeMarco for her. Don DeMarco. And yeah, so because she did the intro and outro edit, so I'm always thinking about her. But yeah, so proud of her and what she's doing. Yeah, my bad. So I'm looking at Brother Cribby's in the building. What's good, fam? Good to see you. He's like, yo, Saint, sorry to hear that your YouTube is getting suppressed. I believe it is, bro. And what he's talking about is, I talked about this last night, and I'm going to continue to talk about this. I mean, it is what it is, bro. I'm a small platform. You know what I mean? It's, which really, when it comes to YouTube, it kind of blows me away that if it is true, again, I don't have any hard evidence. I'm just letting you guys know what I'm thinking. But if you do have a corporation, a platform the size of YouTube that's actually going around trying to suppress things, for whatever reason, man, that's just terrible. But I did a YouTube short about YouTube suppressing certain content, right? It's content they don't like. 1 minute short, it has like maybe 3 views. And not long after that, I put that short out there. I watched my subscriber count plummet. Went from 1,800 down to we're around 16 or something now, like maybe 1,700 now. It's just crazy how that happens. And yeah, it's just it's other way larger YouTube platforms, YouTube channels, content creators have been talking about this as well. I kind of looked it up. It's a I'm gonna do a show about it. I'm gonna do a maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. We're gonna definitely talk about it. It's crazy. I mean, it's crazy. I was listening to Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan was talking about YouTube and the what they're doing with respect to copyright and stuff like that. And shout out to Joe Rogan. Shout out to him. So good to see him back just on. You don't have to go to Spotify. I never went over to Spotify to watch any of Rogan's stuff, while he had that deal going on. I only watched clips that were posted. Now you can watch the entire podcast. So he's on there. Now I'm watching one. Who's the kid that talks about, race? He was on the View recently fighting off that Sunny lady, whoever. But I forget the name of the guy, but he was also on Bill Maher. And actually I want to get his book now. So anyway, Rogan has him on 3-hour podcast. I'm in the process of watching that. Man, I ain't gonna lie, I miss watching Joe Rogan do his thing. So shout out to him. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Maybe YouTube will kind of pull back. I noticed that my drop in subscription stops at a certain number, and it seems to be, kind of holding where it is now. But yeah, last time I checked, I'm down 148. I think it was 146, 148 subscribers, and all that happened in like really less than 8 hours. Like when it happened, and it happened fast. It just didn't make sense. But it is what it is. So I'll put that out. We're gonna talk about that some more. So I hope you guys are good. Appreciate you. Go ahead, drop a like, subscribe. I mean, really, I guess it doesn't matter at this point, does it? You can subscribe all you want. YouTube or just cut the subscription. It is what it is, bro. But yeah, like, subscribe, share. Just definitely keep the conversation going, because that's what this is all about. And over this coming weekend, I'm gonna, move over to Rumble. I'm gonna get into Rumble and move a bunch of content over there. I'm gonna start that process of moving content over, and maybe just mirror what I do here on YouTube with Rumble. And eventually I'll probably wind up over there with a lot of other people. It is what it is. I don't know why YouTube would do this. Most of the time when you're dealing with stuff like this, it comes down to money. At the end of the day, it just comes down to money. Because I'm like, well, YouTube is getting paid on, every dollar a content creator makes. YouTube is making money as well. But if YouTube demonetizes someone who is pretty popular, they're probably still running ads and they don't have to pay that content creator. So maybe that's what it all boils down to. Instead of getting 30 or 40%, now they get 100%. Maybe that's what it is. Whatever it is, we're just gonna have to continue watching and see what it do. It's sad. It's definitely sad. And again, I can't definitively prove it, but I suspect, highly that that algorithm has something to do with what is going on. The jump was just insane. It was just bam, 140 plus subscribers gone, just like that. I've never gained, subscribers just like that, but to just lose them like that was just it's crazy. But it is what it is. I'll reach out to some of my friends and some other content creators, and do what I can to get the numbers back up. I'm going to be on a fairly large YouTube platform here next week. Maybe that'll help. It'll definitely help. Just kind of get it out there. People see me. It is what it is. We're scheduled to do it, so I'm looking forward to it. And once it's done and in the can, I'll let you guys know exactly what's up and who the content creator is and all that, and when it's going to come out. But yeah, man, let's talk about what we came here to talk about, bro. Let's talk about the fast food minimum wage hike in California. So I put out a short about this. I was, driving to pick up my daughter. And if anybody who watches my platform know, I'll get into the car, I'll turn on the camera and just talk about whatever. I spoke about this, and, I was like, man, this is going to affect the mom and pops. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. Like, is this a good idea? Is it a bad idea? Like, what are we doing here? Did they think this thing through? My brother, Jay Swan, he had a look at it and he hit me back and he was like, man, you didn't look into it. A quick Google search, and you can see that it only affects the big corporations, and they define it as a corporation who has more than 60 franchise stores, I think is what it is. So I guess the intent was to go after the big boys. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm definitely going to talk about it. So here we are today. I got an article from the Los Angeles Times, the New York Post, and USA Today that we're going to look at. and just see what it is and see what it do. Lady Nevoa is in the building. What's good, sis? How you feeling? Good to see you. You know what I mean? I looking at this, these numbers sound, big. Like, wow, look at all this money. And we'll start this whole thing off by saying that, yeah, the minimum wage is way too low in America. Like, there's the minimum wage and there should be a living wage. And we understand that, the basic American family cannot survive off of minimum wage, right? Or even a single person to have it's a struggle depending on where you are in America off of minimum wage. I think the federal minimum wage is still like under $10. I think it's like $7 and something. I want to say $7.40 or something like that is the federal minimum wage. I mean, I think minimum wage here in Tampa is higher than that, but that this is the struggle, this is the problem, and different people are going about it, going about it different ways to fix it. So let's pull up this article. This is the LA Times. So let's pull this up and let's figure out what's going on, and let's see exactly what California is doing and has done. So your guide to the California's new $20 an hour minimum wage for fast food workers. This came out April 1st. This article came out April 1st. So California's mandatory minimum wage for fast food workers took effect Monday with the $20 an hour now in place. So I think the average was around 16. I think that's what they were making. Excuse me. I think they were making $16 an hour. And now, April 1st, it jumped to $20 an hour. And then so this article goes into, here's what we know from the pages of the Times. Background on this: the pay increase established by Assembly Bill 1228 applies to California's fast food workers employed by any chain with more than 60 locations nationwide and covers corporate-owned and franchise locations. The state has more than 540,000 fast food workers, about 195,000 of them in Los Angeles and Orange counties, according to the latest May 2022 figures from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. So, again, this affects all of California. And, California is a very, very expensive place to live. Don't get it twisted. Something like this, I get where they're coming from. Like, okay, it makes sense. And this is what my brother Jay Swanson was pointing out to me. It's like, man, it's not everybody. So it's not like, like you just got like a sole proprietor, mom and pop restaurant. You don't have to comply with this ordinance, this new law. So the previous minimum wage in California, regardless of industry, was $16 an hour, meaning many cashiers, line and prep cooks, counter attendants, and baristas will see as much as a 25% raise overnight. So, and here's an overview. So, yeah, if you're just the average Joe or Jane, that's like, what's up? And this was put to the ballot, right? So, people went out to vote on this Assembly Bill 1228. So, of course, you're going to vote your pocketbook, right? Even if you've never voted before, you're going to go get registered just so you can vote for this to get yourself a raise. You're looking at going from $16 to $20 an hour, $4 an hour. So people like, man, that can't be any real money. It's $4. Like, it's, that's great for the worker, but surely the corporations can afford that, right? That's what, the average person, at least that's what I would be thinking. Like, that's not that bad, just $4. But it's more into it. Like that, initial thought might be that, what I mean, when Uncle Saint was working for Perkins Family Restaurant in Cincinnati, Ohio, like a $4 pay raise. I'm like, yeah, I'm all about that. You're gonna give me a $4 pay raise. But Uncle Saint, the old dude, retired dude, looks at that and it's like, man, that's a huge jump in labor cost. That could be backbreaking for a corporation or a company in general. But the fact that it only affects those corporations that has 60 stores nationwide, 60 locations nationwide. So any chain with more than 60 locations nationwide, and it covers corporate owned and franchised locations. So, okay, they're going after the big boys, right? They're going after the big boys. let's see, we get into so the where are we? Rising prices. Some fast food operators said they plan to raise prices or are considering doing so, while Chipotle has not yet announced a final decision on new pricing. Many other chains like McDonald's, Starbucks, Jack in the Box say they are planning to push the wage increase onto customers or change their operations. Here's a look at what other chains have in mind. So, I mean, without even clicking on that, bro, I mean, if you're looking at this, right? Let's say that you're the chief, the CFO, like you're the chief financial officer and you're the chief operating officer, and you're sitting there at the table with the CEO, the chief executive officer, and y'all going over the numbers, right? They knew this was coming. It's not like they woke up on April 1st. It was like, oh my God, they knew that this thing was going to happen. They've known for probably years that this thing is going to happen. And so they're like, okay, what are the numbers? They're going to sit there and they're going to look at their numbers. How are we going to absorb this? And the easiest way is just to pass it along to the consumer. We're just going to have to raise prices. If we want to keep everything the way it is, we're going to keep our employees, we're going to keep running our labor costs the way we've been running them. With this new increase to, now our minimum wage goes from $16 to $20, we're going to have to, raise prices. And don't get it twisted. Like these restaurants, especially fast food restaurants, they've been raising prices for decades anyway. And none of the money seemed to be going back into labor. Like it is what it is. And so it's one of those things. It's like, all right, cool. They're gonna raise prices. Other option would include cutting back on hours, laying folks off, or outright just firing staff or closing stores. So these are all of the options that are kind of floating around in these executive boardrooms when these people are, talking about it, and they've been talking about it. So once April hit, it wasn't a matter of what are we going to do. When April hit, it was we're about to execute what it is that we were planning, and that's just what it is. So the new council, along with higher minimum wage, the new law established a fast food council. I did read a little bit about this. A fast food council composed of businesses and labor representatives that has the authority to set future pay increases at a maximum of 3.5% a year and develop standards on working conditions and employee safety and training. So this whole law involves this council, which has labor people like the unions and stuff like that, and I guess lawyers like lawmakers and elected officials and business owners. So they have this council. I don't know what it's comprised of. I guess we could click on it to see, but we don't. But there's an intermediary between what's going on in the trenches and what's going on in Sacramento. You got this council is going to say, hey, they can come in and they say, hey, every year they can increase up to 3.5% on labor costs, or bottom line, how much you're going to get paid. Again, this is they're trying. You know what I mean? Like it's a problem, and they're trying. So you got to give them that, and that's pretty much the end of that article. Viper J in the building. What's good, fam? Good to see you. Like they're trying. I mean, you gotta tip your hat to California for at least addressing the issue. You know what I mean? We got Jay Swans in the building. What's good, bro? He's like, maybe folks will go back to eating at the mom and pop burger joints because food may be cheaper. Maybe. Or if you're the mom and pop, you can still raise your pricing and still be cheaper. Like if let's say McDonald's raises the cost of their hamburger by $2, let's just say. Well, you can raise your cost of the hamburger by 75 cents and still be way cheaper than the fast food joint. So hopefully they will be able to get people to go see the mom and pops. Brother Jay was like, the Coney Island by me just put a new menu up this week. Cheeseburgers from $4.95 to $5.75. Man, that's crazy, bro. I mean, every year businesses look at ways to increase their profit, and that's going to mean they're going to get to increase their prices of products, and they see if the consumers will take it. You know what I mean? We got Scam Likely in the building. it's just one of those things. That's business, right? That's just business. So, see, we'll stop that screen. And then the New York Post put something out. Why some California businesses are exempt from fast food minimum wage hike. So this would be kind of cool to check out. Let's pull this up and have a look. See what they're talking about here. And again, this is the New York Post. I was talking to a friend of mine today, like talking to my people, and we were talking about this minimum wage hike. It's my cousin. She's in Miami, and she lives all over the world. Like she's been everywhere. And she was saying that she was recently in New York and noticed that there's been a bump in the minimum wage or the pay that delivery people are receiving, which was like crazy. That's causing your delivery bill to go up way high. And she was like, yeah, if you order a pizza or a burger, let's say you order a burger for $12, it's going to cost you $12 to get that burger delivered, like $24. And I'm like, oh, word? She's like, yeah. Like she started messing around with it and looking at stuff. So yeah, it was crazy. But let's check this out. Why some California businesses are exempt from fast food minimum wage hike. This is today. This article came out today. The newly enacted $20 an hour minimum wage hike for fast food workers that went into effect in California on Monday won't apply to chains that have locations in airports, hotels, event centers, theme parks, museum, and grocery stores. So, I mean, all right, that's cool. You know what I mean? You look at that like, all right, so it didn't hit just everybody. There's exemptions out there. So they did, in fact, put, time and effort into this. They did, in fact, try to make this make sense. Last fall, California Governor Gavin Newsom signed into law Assembly Bill 610, which raised the minimum wage for workers employed by fast food chains from $16 an hour to $20 an hour. Companies including McDonald's and Chipotle warned that the increased labor costs would be passed on to the consumer by hiking menu prices. Right? Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Scott Roderick, a franchisee who operates 18 McDonald's locations in and around the San Francisco Bay Area, said he had to hike menu prices, though he would refuse to charge $20 for a Happy Meal. So, okay, good for him. According to the legislation, chains that operate a location in what the law calls a grocery establishment, which is a retail space that measures more than 15,000 square feet and which sells primarily household food stuff for off-site consumption, will be exempt from the law. I have no idea what that means. No idea. So a grocery establishment. So I guess grocery stores that sell food are exempt. You can walk into your local grocery store and you can buy, broiled chicken, or you can have a Subway sandwich, like a Subway style sandwich made, or you can buy chicken wings, you can buy mac and cheese or whatever. I guess they're exempt because they're a grocery store and they're large and they primarily sell stuff like food stuff and whatever. So okay, grocery stores and I guess bodegas style stores would be exempt if they're big enough. The law stipulates that the grocery establishment must also earn 50% of its gross income from selling household food stuff from off-site consumption and employ the workers who man the fast food restaurant. Okay, yeah. So if you go into whatever, hey, my bad, guys. I gotta take this call real quick, just real quick. Yo, DC, man, I'm doing a podcast right now. I'm gonna hit you back as soon as I'm done. Peace. My bad, guys. We gotta talk some comedy, and what I mean. My man's been trying to get a hold of me for a couple of days, so I gotta hit him back. So that makes sense. right? Because when you go into these restaurants, when you go into the grocery store and you go to the deli section, and they have like the chicken and they have, like the sandwiches and they have whatever, all those people work for that grocery store chain. So it's not like you're going into a grocery store and then going up to, Chipotle, and they're the workers there are Chipotle employees. I guess then they would have to, in that case, they would have to abide by the new law. So, all right, that makes sense. And Jay Swans was saying the McDonald's and a Super Walmart would be exempt. Would it? Because the employees at the McDonald's and the Super Walmart work for McDonald's, right? They're not Walmart employees. So I would think if from what I'm reading there, if they work for Walmart and they're employed by Walmart and serving food, Walmart stuff, then they would be exempt. But if there's just a McDonald's inside the Walmart and the franchise owner and everything is McDonald's, the uniforms are McDonald's and McDonald's pays them, they probably would not be exempt. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I don't know. That's crazy. And your brother Viper's like, I've noticed. He's like, I've also noticed when I use my McDonald's online app, I'm paying almost 25% less every time. Yeah, I think they're doing that just to get people, to really use that app. Oh, and Jay Swan's like, oh, you did verify, like you asked your Connect about it earlier today. Okay, that's cool, because that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, y'all know Jay Swans know people, so yeah, because just reading this, the grocery establishment it measures more than 15,000 square feet, right? And the whole thing about the household stuff will be exempt, and so. But the part that got me is they employ the workers who man the fast food restaurant. So it says like, so I guess in the example we're using, Walmart, according to this, what we're reading here in the New York Post, Walmart would have to employ the workers at that McDonald's inside of Walmart in order for them to be exempt. But Jay Swans went to the source, and the source is like, nah, they're exempt. And it says fast food chains that fail to meet these requirements will have to pay the $20 an hour minimum wage to their employees. All right. So if you don't meet those requirements up there, one of them being you have to pay, the employees, you have to comply with the law. One of the most controversial carve outs to the minimum wage law involves the sale of bread. The law exempts restaurants to sell bread as a standalone menu item. So as long as the bread was made inside the restaurant and its weight is at least half a pound after it cools, then you're also exempt. So if you got a McDonald's, all you got to do is start making your own bread. That's crazy. That's crazy. And y'all notice I still haven't gotten myself a good blocker, a good ad blocker. Um, yeah. So, but this is what Gavin Newsom did, and again, people who voted on this measure, I mean, they're like, yeah, man, trying to get a livable wage. Trying to get a livable wage. So I ain't gonna mess with that. So the bread thing is probably for and I'm trying to land on it here. I guess for like Cinnabon and places like that. Um, you say, but restaurants that sell bread that weighs more than half a pound, but uses pre-made dough or dough that was made somewhere other than a restaurant do not qualify for the exemptions. Chains that sell muffins, croissants, scones, rolls, or buns as standalone items must meet the new minimum wage requirement. Oh, so I guess Cinnabon does have to pay. In February, Bloomberg News reported that Panera Bread would benefit from the exemption to the minimum wage law thanks to lobbying efforts by Greg Flynn, the billionaire franchisee who enjoyed long-standing business and political ties to Newsom. Hey, that's politics, y'all. That's politics at work, man. If you got somebody who can put the fix in for you. So Panera Bread doesn't have to pay the $20 minimum wage. And that's because of the bread thing. Because they bake their own bread. They have bread for sale there. It's Panera Bread, right? But they're still a restaurant. As I guess it's still considered kind of like the fast food thing, but they have a carve out. Wow. Because this Greg Flynn guy lobbied Sacramento and Gavin Newsom and those people to get that in there. Wow. And it says the story prompted the backlash, which compelled Newsom's office to clarify that Panera Bread didn't qualify for the exemption because the chain does not produce its dough in-house. The language related to the in-house dough production was included in the bill before Bloomberg News reported its story. All right, so this is why Jay Swans is always telling me, man, do your research. I'm like, nah, I like to just, I'm like, ready, fire, aim. That's me. I like to just run with it first and then go back and then figure it out. And Scam Likely is saying Subway and with a question mark. But I don't know if Subway just sells like loaves of bread and then they're those rolls that they make. I think they're less than a pound. Right. So I think the carve out is for like with people who actually sell loaves of bread, like rye bread, wheat bread, whatever, kind of stuff. I don't know, but I'm sure the people at Subway were trying everything they could to get that carve out because they would want to save on that labor cost. So, and then Flynn released statements indicating that his Panera Bread stores would adhere to the new minimum wage requirements. So, hey, man, he got an A for effort. He was trying to make it work. The law was written in a way as to deny fast food chains a workaround by beginning to produce bread in-house. The bread exemption was available only to restaurants who have been making and selling bread as a standalone item as of September 15th of last year. All right, so it looks like they put work into this, man. It wasn't just willy-nilly. They put work in. At least that's what it sounds like. And then there's an article from USA Today that looks like I can't find it anymore. Let's see if I can find it. There was an article from USA Today. It said USA Today, California minimum wage increase hurts workers it claims to help. And this was about 13 hours ago or so. Let's see if we can find this. Wow, I wonder if this is an opinion piece. All right, so let's stay away from that. Let's stay away from that from now. I don't want to get into that. But we have so many working poor in America, especially in California. Something needs to be done. You definitely got to tip your hat to California. At least they're making any attempts to do something about this minimum wage thing. Let's see, Fox Business. This is another opinion piece. There are a lot of opinion pieces out there saying that this is going to hurt. Let's see if we can't find something on YouTube. I know I'll probably get in trouble for putting it on here. Give me 1 second. See if I can't find. There was a couple of stories on YouTube that I was checking out. And it was some owners and some people who were I know what it was. It was Fox 11. That they were talking about closing franchises, closing down businesses and stuff like this because it was kind of hurting them. And I'm gonna see if I can find it. We'll run it back. And I mean, it's just when you do stuff like this, you know it's going to be pushback. You know, nothing is perfect. Nothing works the way it's intended when you first put it out there. So I'm just trying to see if I can't find it. Here it is right here. Minimum, you see the impact of California's fast food wage hike. See if we can run this. And this is Fox 11. This is California. Let me pull this up so we can check this out. And I apologize for not being a little more organized on this, guys, but it is what it is, man. So let's check this out. Again, this is Fox 11 News in LA.
Well, the day arrived that California's AB 1228 goes into effect, hiking the minimum wage for hundreds of thousands of fast food employees in the state from $16 an hour to $20 an hour. The change leaving many restaurant owners concerned.
We're no longer hiring. We're not backfilling positions. We're not growing in the state anymore. We're not expanding more locations. And I'm ultimately thinking about selling or closing my business.
Ahead of today's wage hike, major chains, including Chipotle, McDonald's, Starbucks, Jack in the Box, and Shake Shack, warned that diners would see higher menu prices, while other chains, including Pizza Hut, announced layoffs. Brian Hom is a franchisee at Vitality Bowls Superfood Cafe. He operates locations up in the Bay Area and San Jose and Los Gatos. They are statewide, though. He joins me now with more. What a day for you, sir. Thanks so much for being with us tonight here in Los Angeles. How is this impacting your franchises up there in the Bay Area? Did you raise prices today? And if so, by how much?
Yeah, we raised prices today 5 to 10%. And, you know, my concern is the increased price will deter my customers from returning. It's a significant increase, you know, for the state of California, 25%. And I'm afraid that we will not have enough revenue to cover the cost of this wage increase. You know, it's now becoming, the price of becoming, it's a luxury to go out and eat now. It's not just a normal, I want to go get something to eat. People, some of my customers said they may start just cooking at home, not going out anymore.
Yeah. So for instance,
you know, you look at this kind of stuff and this, you know, I look at this guy and I'm like, oh man, this is just a regular dude who got a franchise or whatever. He's kind of doing his thing, bought into something, he's doing his thing. But the franchise has over 60 stores. You know, he's just a franchisee probably. And I don't know how many stores he has, and you know, like the prices are going to affect what he's doing. I mean, it's already extremely expensive where he lives in the San Francisco area. You know, it just makes you wonder, like, well, were you already kind of having trouble? Like, was it, you know, were the profit margins already real slim, and now you got this increase to labor, and it's like, you know what, it's just not. I just can't. I want to give up. Like the other guy was in the first part of the piece. He's just like, I'm just gonna sell my stores. I mean, it doesn't seem to me that you were just booming, making a bunch of money, and then all of a sudden, you know, because of this price increase, you're just like, all right, I'm done. Unless you were already having trouble. You know what I mean? So, and I guess we would never know unless you asked the correct question, but let's continue.
I mean, you said 5 to 10% price increases today. Did you hear specifically? I know you just mentioned that some customer says, I may have to just not come here and be your customer anymore, sir. I have to cook at home. Is that really across the board that you heard that today?
Well, I haven't, I mean, I'm in the store every day because it's a small business, family owned. My wife, my 2 sons, and my daughter-in-law work there. And yeah, I talk to people and they're looking at the prices and they're thinking, you know, before where they would just come in, throw in their credit card. Now they're, you know, looking at alternative types of food. But, you know, fast food is going to be a lot higher for everybody. And I'm concerned, like I said, I may have to start cutting hours, laying off, you know, eventually maybe even closing the store, which, you know, I'm a community store. We opened up for the last 7 years because we're food allergy safe. My 18-year-old son had.
So, and Jay, I saw this before I did my short in the car. This is the news clip that I saw. And the part I keyed in on the part, it was like, oh, we're family owned, but it's a family owned, like they bought into a franchise as a family. So they have these stores, but the franchise itself has over 60 stores nationwide. So therefore they fall under this new law. So he has to be compliant. So I get that. So that's what, not to make excuses. I mean, I was dead wrong, but that's what threw me off. I'm like, well, man, you're hurting these, it's mom and pops. It's mom and pop who bought into a franchise. So if mom and pop owns a McDonald's, they own 2 McDonald's and they're just trying to make it work. Yeah, the McDonald's corporation is everywhere, certainly more than 60 stores. So they're going to fit in that your labor costs are going up. So, I mean, and that's what it is. And that's another thing too, guys. Y'all got to make sure y'all got people in y'all circles going to hold your feet to the fire. Like my dude, he'll look at videos and be like, hey, when we have our conversations, he's like, but hey, did you look this up? Did you see this? Check this out. And I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, you need people like that, as opposed to having just an echo chamber where you're hearing what you're saying and you're just nice and comfy. It's like, yeah, these people get it. It's like, well, it's an echo chamber. You guys are all thinking the same. Go into somebody else's echo chamber and see if your stuff holds up. Let's continue.
Had died from a food allergy.
Oh.
So I was created this store to honor him and as well as educate people that, so we pass the ball. I have EpiPens in my store, so I mean, it has personal, it's a personal thing that this store, I have a passion behind the store because it's healthy eating and it's food allergy safe. I have many customers who come in because I know how, fatal a food allergy could be.
Oh my gosh, sir, I'm so sorry. I had no idea about the loss of your son. So thank you for sharing that. Obviously, this is part of your business model. Worst case scenario, you just said that you may have to shut down. How soon would you be making that decision to do that?
Well, first of all, we just raised prices today. So I'm in there every day. I'm trying to get a feel of my customers to see how much of an impact that is for them to take the increase. And also, it's labor is like the second highest behind the cost of, goods sold. So while I have to look at, do I need to cut hours? In one of my stores, we would run with 4 or 3, or down to 2. So now, we got to continually look, we definitely have stopped hiring. And now, now we got to look at, can we maintain the people? But it's too early to say because today's the first day.
You're definitely going to have to make some changes. You're going to have to evolve. He keeps saying, it sounds to me that he founded this franchise, but if he's under this law, then they have to have over 60 stores, throughout the nation or whatever, out within the state. So maybe he could go approach Target or approach, like Jay Swans was saying, like maybe out there you can approach Gelson's or Target and get his restaurants in there and maybe get the waiver because he's within the grocery store and maybe the grocery store is paying the employees. Maybe that'll be a way. Like you sit back and just try to reinvent yourself or hitch your wagon to somebody like the grocery store, whatever exemption, exemptions may be out there. But shout out to dude for doing this thing. Yeah, that I'm just like, wow. So there are going to be people, and it was one other video. I'm gonna see if I can find. There's a pizza franchise in California. See if I can find that video I watched, and it was just kind of like, oh, here it is. And I think this is another California news affiliate. We're gonna check this out as well. This is Fox 26 News, so I don't know where they are. They're in Fresno. Looks like they're in Fresno. So I'm going to pull this up and check this out. Now, of course, when you do something like this, you're going to have issues. It's not going to be seamless. People are going to have to make decisions. They're going to have to make choices. The shameful thing is the people who get hurt is always the folks at the bottom, right? So we're trying to do this thing the people of California are trying to do this thing so they can get the people who are hurt the most hourly as employees, that's being the fast food people. Let's get them up to a living wage or a hike in their, minimum wage to their pay so they can afford this high cost of living area. Great. We're going to get them up to $20 an hour. Okay, fine. Well, the very people who you want to help could get hurt. Like, what happens if the companies just close because it just, it's like, it ain't making sense. You know what I mean? It's costing me too many dollars. This doesn't make sense. We're gonna close up shop. Or, we got a franchise and the rule says if you got over 60 franchises, then you know what I mean, you got to pay this new labor cost. Okay, fine. Let's say we got 63 stores. All right, so I'm gonna get rid of 4 stores. Okay, now we got 59. So we don't have to pay that extra labor cost. I guess you don't. You're compliant. Fine. I'm just going to close those stores. Who is that going to hurt? It's going to hurt the very people you want to help in the first place. But at the same time, I mean, you got to do something. You can't just sit back and do nothing. So let's check this out.
If they had stopped paying the rent here and all that, I wish they had notified us then.
Employees at Mod Pizza in Clovis are now saying corporate shut the store without notice, and they say the timing is suspect. Good evening. I'm Monty Torres.
And I'm Liz Gonzalez. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Mod Pizza has shut down 27 restaurants across the U.S., including 5 in California. Former employees in Clovis are now saying that their store closed as things all happened at once.
Rent on the site was apparently due as the minimum wage for fast food workers rose to $20 an hour in California. Fox 26 reporter Sophia Alessio spoke with 2 people now out of jobs. Sophia?
And did you hear that part right there? He was like, rent was allegedly due. So, and I've been to Mod Pizza, pretty good establishment. When I was living in California, there was one in North Hollywood, literally just half a block away from where I was living. And if you guys have never heard of it, Mod Pizza, apparently it's a national franchise. I thought it was just unique to California, but it's a national franchise. And imagine a Chipotle that does pizza, right? It's kind of like that. Like you come in, you wait at the front of the line, you walk in, and then, you pick your dough, and then you pick what items you want on the pizza, how many items you want on the pizza, what size pizza you want. You kind of go through like, yeah, let me get that, let me get that, let me get that. And they put all that stuff on the pizza, then they throw it in the oven, and you pay for it, and you sit there and you wait for it to come out the oven. They throw it in a box and they give it to you. And you can eat it there in the restaurant, or you could take it with you. And they have all the fixings and all that. And it was pretty cool. Like it had like a grungy feel to it. It's like the people who were working behind the counter were like, they look like skateboarders or something like that, bro. But I mean, everything was clean. It was nice. The product was good. The food was good. And of course they made all the ingredients every day. You know how Chipotle make the guacamole every day. They cut up their chicken and, sliced up their pepperonis or whatever they did. Apparently they did it every day at the start of the shift. So everything was fresh. You went through there, got your pizza, it was good. You know what I mean? So this story we're watching now, apparently one of the locations just closed up on April 1st. And it's like the signage is taken down and all the stuff. So like this thing was planned. And then the news anchor was saying that, hey, there was some about they were behind in rent for the location. So it seems to me that the decision was made to close this joint up. They just waited to April 1st to do it.
Yeah, Monty and Liz, both the employees who I spoke to actually wanted to remain anonymous, but they did tell me that if they knew that the minimum raise for fast food workers were going to come out like this, that they probably wouldn't have voted for the law.
Just kind of seemed, the right timing 2 weeks before all of the fast food locations in California got that increase that we closed.
That's what the former assistant manager of Mod Pizza is saying after its Clovis location is now closed, empty and stripped.
Personally, if they would have gone about it in a better way, I feel like I would feel better about it. But
I just wanted to point out real quick, Lil Shorty said they want to remain anonymous, but you just said he was the assistant manager. How many assistant managers did they have? You just told on him, girl. We can see this. We can see the back of his head. See, y'all got to be careful out here when y'all be giving up these interviews to news people, bro. Yeah, don't let nobody know it's me. Okay, and then the other employee they talked to, they just showed her hands. At least she was smarter, but still, probably only 8 to 12 employees at that location to begin with. But let's continue.
Just the lack of notice, and all of a sudden, just the acts for everybody is just really disheartening.
Both employees I spoke with wanted to remain anonymous because they say Mod Pizza made them sign a non-disclosure agreement. Both tell me they were completely in the dark until 2 days before their final shift.
So it saddened me the way things were done. It definitely was a shock considering that we were kind of told that we had job security.
According to the California WARN Act, employers need to give a 60-day notice to the affected employees before a mass layoff. Did you get of any reason why stores in California were closing?
No, not from corporate directly, but I do have a feeling it had to do with the $20 an hour increase, seeing as they knew it was coming.
Initially, he says he was for California bumping up the minimum wage for fast food workers.
For the extra money, yeah. I mean, nobody's going to turn down a raise, but at the end of the day, with repercussions like this, was it worth it?
I had a feeling that we were going to be hit with repercussions of that.
Now it just makes him sad coming back to an empty restaurant.
I love this company. It really sucks. I put blood, sweat, and tears into this. I opened the Fresno location. They closed that location. I helped open this location, and now it's closed as well.
More self snitching, like dude telling on himself. I don't want nobody to know who I am, but you can film the back of my head, and you can tell them I'm the assistant manager, and I help open up that store in Fresno, and then I help open up this store right here. But don't let nobody know who I am. I signed a non-disclosure. Bro, you might be in trouble. Let's continue.
As you could see behind me, Mod Pizza has already taken off all of its signage, and it never announced the closure of all 27 locations across the nation, and that is according to its website. Monty and Liz.
Sophia, you said those employees said something to you also about rent being due. What did they tell you about that?
Yeah, one of the employees that I spoke to told me that on the last day of closure, that somebody actually came by with an eviction notice telling the employees that they either need to quit in 10 days or they need to be paying the rent. And they said that the landlord or whoever had to be paying the rent hadn't paid the rent in 2 months.
Sophia, I'm curious. I know we heard the side of the workers, but did we hear or reach out to Mod Pizza Corporate to find out from them exactly what happened?
I did reach out to corporate, but I just have not heard back yet.
All right. Thank you so much, Sophia.
And there you have it. I'm pretty sure corporate was like, yeah, we're done with that location. We stopped paying the rent 2 months ago. Save that money. Brother Casual Germs in the building. Was good, fam. Yeah, showed her favorite bracelet. Like, yeah, she's like, oh, you can show my hands. I'm like, you better take that bracelet off, take that ring off so you can figure out who you are. You know what I mean? I mean, it is what it is. At the end of the day, those people they lost a job, and they're in an environment where, okay, I want to get another job at another restaurant, fast food restaurant. Well, who's going to be hiring? I mean, it's just like, we got to hire you in at $20. Who's going to be hiring? Like, it's just one of those things. It's like, yo, this ain't no joke. Like this is not no joke, man. I think I saw one where they were talking about price increases. Fast food. Let's see if I can find it. It was one other I watched, and I was like, wow, they were actually showing how much more. Yeah, this is KTLA. Let me see if I can't. Let me look at this one. I mean, it's one of those things where every action has an equal and opposite reaction. This ain't it. This is something different. This is from 2 months ago. Now, this is something different. Yeah, NBC News is talking about. So everyone's pretty much talking about it now. So I mean, it is what it is. Today, everyone's talking about it now. So, it is what it is. You got to do something. And that's the tough part about being, an elected official. You're trying to look out for your constituents. You're trying to do what's right. You're trying to be fair. But at the same time, the business sector, and the corporations and the business owners, they're like, look, how you expect us to pay for it? We're gonna have to move, this cost, this increase to the consumer. So everyone pays more, and then you begin to lay off and we fire people, and then you look to automation. So you get to a point where it's like, well, they're closing down stores, and when they reopen stores, it's fully automated. So you only need a fraction of the human workforce to augment the automation, which again, it hurts the very people that you want to help, but you got to do something. So I guess what do you do? One of those damned if you do, damned if you don't scenarios. And this when people talks about it, like, it's really hard for the people at the bottom to win, to even just to get on. It's like, damn. It's like either take this $16, and just deal with it, or okay, we're gonna, the politicians came, hooray, we're getting a $4 pay raise, and then the corporations or the business owners like, okay, fine, we got to start closing down these stores. We got to cut back on hours. We got to lay people off. It's just one of those things, man. It's crazy. It's just crazy. But I wanted to jump on, and I wanted to talk about this real quick, just because, I did the quick, the DL short, and I'm like, oh, let me follow this up, and let's really look at what's going on. And there was another article that I just can't find. Oh, I know what it was. There's one more article. I was sent a text, and it talks about New York. And this is from a DoorDash website. And it says that $29.93 an hour is the minimum wage for a DoorDash, a Dasher in New York. Right. So New York City Dashers, DoorDash people, earn a minimum earning rate of $29.93 an hour, right, for engaged time on the platform. Time their delivery starts from when they accept the order. All right, so there you have it. And I believe this also started April 1st. I'm going to see if I can find some more information about that, maybe do a DL short about it. But again, you got a DoorDash person who's going to deliver your food. As soon as they accept the delivery to go get your stuff, they're getting paid, just under $30 an hour to do that. Now, of course, it's probably, I don't know. I don't use DoorDash. I can't imagine that it's going to take them an hour to bring your food. I don't know. I don't know how that works. I'm pretty sure they don't accept the delivery until the food is just about done. So when they get there, they get the food and they take it to whoever. But I know in LA, if you order something, with traffic, it could take easily 25, 35 minutes just to get to that one location. And the DoorDashers normally have multiple deliveries. So they got 4 or 5 deliveries they got to run. So, there's that. But, when you do that gig economy thing, it's not like you're getting a solid 40 hours at that rate, that $29 an hour rate or whatever it is. Unlike when you work in a restaurant, you're in there working, you're on the clock, you're getting paid that. Now, you won't get your 40 hours more than likely. A lot of people look at that too. It's like, oh man, they're making $20 an hour. It's like, yeah, but they're not going to get, 40 hours a week. You look at a pay period, 2 weeks, they're going to be under 80 hours. I guarantee it. I guarantee you they'll be right around 75 hours. Because if you're making that full time, you're doing full time, they got to pay you that. They got to pay you all the other benefits to go with being a full-time employee, if I'm not mistaken. So I remember way back in the day when I was doing this type of work, I rarely got full 80-hour pay period. I might get, 39 hours the first week, and maybe you get, maybe 30 hours the second week or something like that. So it was never 80 hours or more, and again, you got overtime too. When I got hired by the FAA, I was blown away by the breaks, the compensation packages, the paid time off, the medical time, like the sick time off, the personal time off. There's rules on how long a controller can actually stay at work working. That like if you're constantly working over 2 hours in one stretch while you're at work. So you're at work and you're just talking to airplanes. If you're doing that over 2 hours consistently, then they'll bring a team in to find out why controllers are working over 2 hours. So it's just one of those rules where they try to get controllers out in less than 2 hours. So you sit there and you're talking to airplanes and you work about an hour, hour and a half, and then you'll get a break. Then just to kind of keep you fresh at what's going on and stuff like that. Now, are there times we have to work over 2 hours? Of course, depending on where you are and what type of facility that you're in. But it just blew my mind. It's like, what? You know, I came from a world, I was like, bro, for this kind of money, you're going to pay me over $100,000. Yeah, I'll sit here for 6 hours and do this. But once I really got into air traffic, I saw why you can't do it. Mental fatigue is set in, and it's like a whole nother thing. And for you young people out there, remember, over the next couple of weeks or so, the FAA is going to be doing a hire. It's off the street. All the training is paid for. Check out our video. Jay Swans and I did a video last week. We have other videos on the channel. Make sure you guys check it out. It's a great opportunity, life-changing opportunity. You know, you definitely want to apply to be an air traffic controller for the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration. Make sure you check that out. I'm done, guys. I appreciate everyone coming through and rocking out with me. That's all I got on this one. All we can do is keep our eyes on what is going on with this. You know, on the one hand, it's good that this pay raise kicked in and people are getting closer to a livable wage, even in California. But on the other hand, there might not be any work. They might lay people off, fire people. They might close their jobs down. Like, hey, you know, we can't afford to pay this rate, so we're going to close this place up. I just wonder why they didn't do it in steps. Like, okay, we're going to get to $20 an hour over the next year, 2 years or whatever. We're going to do it in increments. I wonder why they just went right in to do it. I wonder why. But anyway, if I come across someone who knows more about this, I'll definitely ask them to come on to the show. And I'll definitely be on tomorrow, probably early. I have a 7:00 meeting I have to go to tomorrow. So I'll probably come on early. And I'm not quite sure what I'm going to talk about. Probably talk about some dating stuff, some red pill stuff. I haven't talked about it in a couple of days. In fact, I do know what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about single women are getting rejected multiple times by confident men. I was going to talk about this last night, but Sister Ashley came up and we talked about something else. We didn't watch the videos. I want to show you guys some videos I found about some women who are out here dating and some of the struggles they're having with online dating, and kind of give you my take on what's going on with these folks. So that'll definitely be tomorrow. Probably come on early. So just be looking for the thumbnail. Appreciate y'all rocking with me, supporting me. Like I said, I made YouTube mad. So please share this stuff with people, because that helps the algorithm. But yeah, I think I'm in the doghouse, man. They watching me. They mad at me right now. So we're going to see what it do. And yeah, we're just going to keep it going. We're going to keep it going. I'll probably get demonetized at some point. I'll still stay on here, and then I'll be on Rumble. I'll be probably, uploading or going live on X and maybe Facebook as well. I'm just going to have to hit all the platforms and just see what it does. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. It is. You talk about David and Goliath, it's the ant versus the elephant, bro. And the elephant's gonna win. I can't beat the elephant right now. So, but I'm just gonna stay with the platform as long as I can. We're gonna see what happens. Maybe YouTube change their tune. We'll see. But it is what it is. But I'm about to get up out of here, man. I appreciate y'all. Thanks again for rocking out with me. I'm DL Saint. This is the I Really Want to Know podcast. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.
Nothing like I've ever seen. It's just a thing of beauty.
Darn, that's the end.